Hello friends, welcome to Jinesh IAS Academy Editorial Analysis. In this editorial, we do 5 things. Firstly, we will link the editorial to the UPSC CSE mains syllabus. Secondly, we will understand the key points from the editorial. Thirdly, we will understand the key concepts from the examination point of view. Fourthly, we have modeled the MCQs as per the UPSC prelims examination. And fifthly, we have modeled mains questions as per UPSC mains syllabus. So let's begin today's editorial analysis. Friends, today's editorial has been taken from Business Line, dated May 18, 2020. It's cover UPSC CSE syllabus, especially GS paper 3, and the topics are agricultural pricing and agricultural marketing. Today's editorial has certain key points like, first of all, the theme, ECA dilution and a new central law to replace APMCs are good moves, but implementation is key. Here friends, we can say from the very beginning, our governments tends to see farmers from a very narrow perspective and are driven from urban consumers' motive and often brings law that are at times detrimental to farmers. And today's, in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, it is the right time to uplift the farmers' condition. And for that sake, we have to dilute ECA and to replace APMCs. Now, what are the other key points? The third tranche of Atmanirbhar Bharat package announced by Finance Minister contained a fairly predictable set of measures promising more credit to farmers, investment in agri infrastructure and promoting ancillary activities to supplement agricultural income. But two key announcements in the package have the potential to substantially transform Indian agriculture, it following through. One is to promise of a central law to provide more choices to the farmer beyond the agriculture produce marketing committee mandis. And second is, the other is the proposal to amend the Essential Commodities Act ECA to deregulate commodities such as cereals, edible oils, oil seeds, pulses, onion and potatoes. If the government managed to walk the talk, these measures can go a long way in improving the terms of trade for farmers and following them the freedom of choices they have been long denied. In the right hand of the slide, we have a crux of Atmanirbhar Bharat, its various tranches and the allocation in figures, right. So, the total figure is all about 20,97,053 crore rupees. Friends, recently the government announced an economic stimulus package of rupees 20 lakh crore and a big bang systematic reforms under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, in short, self-reliant India. It have basically two objectives. First, interim measures such as liquidity infusion and direct cash transfers for the poor. And the second is long-term reforms in growth critical sectors to make them globally competitive and attractive. This editorial is all about the ECA dilution and a central law to replace APMCs. Now, what are these two key points, ECA and APMCs? We will understand in detail. Very first, what is all about the APMCs? Friends, Agriculture Produce Market Committee, APMC stand for, is a statutory market committee. Here point to be noted that it is a statutory market committee, because there are various kind of committees like which have a power like quasi judicial, judicial, statutory, right, by a state government in respect of trade in certain notified agricultural or horticultural or livestock products. under the Agriculture Produce Market Committee Act issued by state government. Here the moot question is, how are APMCs administered? Friends, we can take the example of Karnataka. The state government of Karnataka has created APMCs in many towns to enable farmers to sell their produce at reasonable prices. Most APMCs have a market where traders and other marketing agents are provided stalls and shops to purchase agricultural produce from farmers. Now, what is all about ECA? Our second point, Essential Commodities Act 1955. The ECA has been used by the government to regulate the production, supply and distribution of a whole host of commodities. It declares essential in order to make them available to consumer at fair prices. Friends, government tends to see farmers from a very narrow perspective from the very beginning and are driven from urban consumers' motive and often brings laws that are at times detrimental to farmers. One such law is Essential Commodities Act ECA 1955. Thus, today the mindset will have changed, and if we really want to uplift the farmers' condition, so it is important to give them the economic independence they deserve. Thus, we have to uplift, or you can see modified certain laws which are draconian in nature. Next, we have a key features of Essential Commodities Act. The ECA was enacted in 1955 that provides for the control of production, supply, distribution, trade and commerce in any farm good deemed essential and in the interest of general public. The list of items under the Act includes drugs, fertilizers, pulses and edible oils and petroleum products. The Centre under the Act has the power to include new commodities as and when the need arises, and can take them off the list once the situation improves. Once a notification is issued, anybody trading or dealing in a commodity, be it wholesaler, retailers or even importers, are prevented from stockpiling it beyond a certain quantity. It protects consumer against irrational spikes in prices of essential commodities. Friends, the government has invoked the Act numerous times to ensure adequate supplies. It cracks down on hoarders and black marketers of such commodities. So, when this Act was initiated, it was the need of hour. And today's time, recently the central government has notified that masks 2-ply and 3-ply, surgical mask, N95 mask and hand sanitizers as essential commodities up to June 30, 2020 under the Essential Commodities Act 1955. The invocation of the EC Act aims to ensure that these products, key for preventing the spread of COVID-19 infection, are available to people at the right price and of the right quality. The Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution has also issued an advisory under the Legal Metrology Act 2009 to ensure these items are not sold for more than the maximum retail price. Both the mentioned acts, number one is Essential Commodities Act 1955 and second is Legal Metrology Act 2009, are regulated and administered by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. That point is very important for the sake of CSE prelims examinations. Further, we have certain infographics to understand the whole topic all about ECA and APMCs. Here you can show our topmost leadership is talking with the farmers. And what is the outcome? We saw PM is saying we can uplift you, we can double your income, and thus ECA dilution and a new central law to replace APMCs. On the other hand, what the farmer says, sir, it is good moves, but implementation is key, right? So what is the outcome of this talk is, at the dawn of independence, Indian policymaker faced with the daunting task of poverty alleviation. In this scenario, land reforms and state-led industrialization were sought to be the prime moving force for the economy. But both the initiatives failed, and India did not have enough food to feed its population and had to go for the US Food Assistance Program under PL 480. Post this experience, India went for Green Revolution in the 1960s and 70s to attain self-sufficiency in food production. Guys, why I am saying all this historical aspect? Because this topic is very close to Indian post-independence history. Since then, successive governments have emphasized raising agriculture production to make India self-reliant in feeding its growing population. However, agricultural marketing, point to be noted, agricultural marketing has not received the corresponding attention despite having a direct relationship to increased crop production. Now, this slide gives a very important point. It gives two important points. Number one is agricultural marketing, and number two, that is all about crop production. And what is the outcome? Agriculture marketing has not received the corresponding attention despite having a direct relationship to increased crop production. It means if we have a better strategies for agriculture marketing, vice versa, definitely we will have a better crop production. Again we have infographics, and that infographic says PM is asking what are the issues in agriculture marketing, what is the problem? And other hand the farmer is saying, sir, Indian farmer sell their products at very first to local market or HAT, second APMC, that is stand for Agricultural Produce Market Committee, which is age old strategy, and third thing, the government at the minimum support price stand for MSP. Here from this picture we can come to a conclusion, and that is all the three selling options are marred by several issues, and we can say certain lacunas. When we are talking about MSP, it announced for 23 crops, but given for only 3 crops. MSP is given only on produce meeting fair average quality norms. Government procurement facilities are not available throughout the country. Also, next phase to growth in agricultural income will come from high yield commodities like dairy products, vegetables, fruits, etc. But the government is still providing MSP in cereals only. And secondary, when we are talking about the APMCs, technically it have multiple buyers, but the system of open auctions for determining prices through transparent bidding is in practice non-existent. Friends, in most APMCs, buyers have to route all purchases through licensed aditiyas or middlemen, and these middlemen charge a commission for their services, many times both from the buyer and seller. The Adityas is also often a money lender, supplying seeds, fertilizers and pesticides to farmers on credit. They then are forced to sell through him and settle their dues in perpetuity. So, these are the weaknesses, and the biggest weaknesses which is shared by farmer to the PM is: number 1, we shared the problem with the APMCs. Number 2, we shared with the PM the minimum support price, and number 3 is the biggest, and 3 is distress sell due to lack of storage infrastructure. He is saying, sir, at mandis the lowest prices are during the 3 to 4 post harvest months and highest in the immediate pre-harvest period. Farmers undertake maximum sales just after harvest as they need to purchase inputs for the next sowing season. In our third infographic, they are saying what are the reforms required. The farmer is saying, sir, apart from ECA and APMCs, more initiatives are needed, and according to me, these are: number 1, uniform mandi fees, eliminate Aditiyas based trading, enable sample based sales, storage and banking facilities near APMCs after reforming, promote FPOs in marketing, relax or abolish Essential Commodities Act, strengthen the e-name, risk management. Risk management is all about the insurance of the crop and or the production, and the last, increase the number of markets, producer consolidation. Now, we can discuss these things in detail, what the farmer is saying to the PM. So, uniform mandi fees, if I will explain it, let understood it. It is proposed that a uniform mandi fees of 0.25% or 0.50% be levied nationwide for food grains, oilseeds and fruits and vegetables. The consequent losses to APMCs may be compensated by the center and state government, as in the case of goods and services tax. Second thing is eliminating Adityas. So, the farmers, all trades in APMCs should be through open auctioning involving multiple bidders. For each lot, such trades should be directly between buyers and sellers with no middleman charging commission. The Adityas can participate only as a trader. So, there is no need of middleman in the present time. Third thing, enable sample based sales, right. The farmer today brings his whole produce to the APMC and the buyers do not physically inspection before bidding. This results in double transportation from the farm gate to APMC and from the APMC to the ultimate destination. If grading and sorting facilities exist closer to the farm gate, it means to check the quality of the crop. The farmer needs to take only a sample of his produce along with the relevant quality certification documents to the mandi. It would save both time and cost. And very important thing is storage and banking facilities near APMCs. And next, promote FPOs in marketing. What is the FPOs? FPO stand for Farmer Producer Organization. It should be encouraged to take up direct marketing of their members produce to large buyers and processors. So, it will result in more competition and better prices at APMC. So, in this way we can rectify or make our new law compatible and consistent. Then next thing is relax or abolish the Essential Commodities Act. Now, what it is a big point, ECA places restriction on the movement of produce, stock holding, pricing and adoption of new technologies. The dismantling of such control under ECA and other regulations would expand trade and lead to better realization for cultivators. We can say, in short, the narrative of ease of doing business is necessary as much for agriculture as other businesses. Again, we have important point, that is ENAM. The government has created an electronic national agriculture market to connect all regulated wholesale produce markets through a pan India trading portal. Its effectiveness is, however, dependent on the participation of traders from these mandis. Risk management is all about the insurance, crop insurance schemes, and the last point is, last but not the least, increase the number of markets. According to Ashok Dhalwai committee, point to be noted, according to Ashok Dhalwai committee, India needs at least 30,000 farm produce markets as against approximately 6,500 now. There is a need for a mini market concept to bridge this wide gap. Further, from this whole topic, we have a question for CSE Mains 2020, and that question is all about doubling of farmers' income cannot be realized without a thriving agricultural market. In this context, apart from focusing on increasing agriculture production, the government must focus on agricultural marketing reforms. Comment. You have to write down this answer of this question in 250 words. Better practice leads to success. Again, we have a question for CSE Prelims 2020 from this editorial analysis, and that question is all about consider the following statements regarding the Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee, stand for APMC, and EC Act 1955. First statement is, it is a statutory market committee constituted by a state government. That is true. Second point is, Essential Commodities Act ECA 1955 is regulated and administered by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Again, it is right. Third point is, distress sale is the weakness of APMCs. It is again right. Hence, our answer is D, 1, 2, 3. All these three statements are which are given are true. Next, we have a key points. APMCs Act that force farmer to sell their produce only to licensed agents have been a key hindrance to the operation of free markets in agriculture, restricting the farmer's ability to access the most lucrative markets and impeding efficient price discovery. Second point is, the NDA regime has so far tried to fix this problem by pressuring states to repeal their APMC acts and getting farmers on board with ENAM. We already discussed the weaknesses of ENAM, right? So, but this has proved less effective with many states given the rent seeking opportunities in the APMC structure, either dragging their feet or tackling half-hearted steps at it. In states that have attempted the repeal, farmers have been left without a well structured alternative to market their produce. The promise of non-APMC alternatives is a welcome step to dismantle the APMC monopoly. But whether this translates into a better deal for farmer will depend on implementation, and from the very beginning we are saying implementation is the key. For this to succeed, credit and transport services presently provided by traditional intermediaries will need to be replicated and solution found for farmers to aggregate produce and exercise collective bargaining power. The center will also need to refrain from ad hoc market interventions such as trade curbs and buffer stock release whenever consumer interests are threatened. Again, we have certain key points like the ECA is the vestige of an era where agri commodities were subject to perpetual shortages, and any attempt to dilute it is welcome in this era of surpluses. Draconian rules that allow the government to declare arbitrary products as essential, fix selling prices, and prosecute players seen to be hoarding. It have proved a big hurdle to the development of efficient go-to-market infrastructure for farm produce. But given sensitivity of political fortune to inflation in commodities such as pulses and onions, it remains to be seen if the center refrains from intervening when crisis strikes. Friends, it is also a moot point why it has not gone the whole hog to repeal the ECA instead of merely proposing tweaks to it. Long-term reforms apart solution also need to be found to the farmers' more immediate problem of a bumper rabi crop, which will need to be sold into markets hit hard by demand destruction and lack of producer pricing. So, at last we can say addressing the challenges of agricultural market is complex yet doable, as the doubling of farmers' income cannot come without developing a thriving market of agriculture. Hence, it is high time that focus must shift from agriculture production to agriculture marketing. Friends, I am again repeating, focus must shift from agricultural production to agricultural marketing. Therefore, if the nation wants to uplift farmers' condition, it is important to give them the economic independence they deserve. Thank you very much, friends.